Recently I posted a video where I customized my new PS5 from white to matte black using a semi-permanent Plastidip coating which I've since removed. If you haven't seen that video, check it out using the card above or the link in the description below. However, among the comments that I was getting on that video, I noticed there were quite a few comments asking that I do the same process to black out the PS5 DualSense controller. So in this video, I'm going to go through that exact same process and show you the steps required to change your PS5 controller from this to this. As you'll find out throughout this video, the process is not as simple as the process for customizing the PS5 side panels, and I probably wouldn't recommend this for most people. However, if you're determined to customize your DualSense controller, then if you follow the steps that I take in this video exactly, you'll be able to safely do it yourself. Before I get started, I want to take a moment to say thank you to all of my new and existing subscribers. This channel's only a few weeks old, but you guys have been giving me some awesome feedback on the content that I've been dropping, which is very encouraging. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this and join me for my journey with this channel. Okay, let's begin. The first step is to remove this plastic panel which surrounds the analog sticks and PlayStation button. This can be done quite easily using a plastic spudger tool. These tools are cheap and readily available, so I'll drop a link below if you want to pick one up for yourself. Once the panel is removed, this will expose two small screws at the bottom of the controller. A quick note regarding the screws. All of the screws used in the DualSense are Phillips head, so a small Phillips head screwdriver will be required. I'll also drop a link below for the tools I use in case you're interested. Once these screws are removed, the back and front of the controller casing can begin to be separated. Before separating the casing completely, the R1 and R2 triggers will need to be removed. These simply pop out as they're attached by clips. Once the triggers are removed, this will expose an additional two screws. After unscrewing these screws, these two small clips can be detached and the back panel of the DualSense casing can be removed. Now that the case is opened, the battery can be removed and the wiring disconnected. There's a single screw which holds the battery compartment to the motherboard, and once this is unscrewed, the battery compartment can be lifted out. Next step is to disconnect four wiring connectors, one on each side of the motherboard as I've done here. Once these connectors are free, the motherboard can be lifted out and flipped down to expose the two final screws which hold the controller components to the front of the controller casing. There are two screws which secure the DualSense touchpad to the backing plate, which can now be removed. Finally, the buttons can be removed and placed to the side so that we now have the front panel free. This plastic diffuser for the LED light should also be removed at this point, however I didn't film this. Okay, now we can begin the process of spraying the controller panels. I didn't have any masking tape on hand, so I've used some packing tape to mask off the buttons and cabling on the front of the controller. This part will be covered later. From here, you can obviously choose any color or medium to use on the controller. However, in my case, I'm using a matte black Plastidip as this is not permanent and can be removed later. Plastidip is applied in multiple coats to ensure good adhesion to the surface it's being used on, as well as providing protection to the original surface. This will also mean that there's a thick enough coating of Plastidip so that it can be easily removed later by simply peeling it off. Paint or Plastidip should always be applied in a well ventilated area as the fumes are toxic. If spraying inside, make sure to wear a ventilator mask so that you don't breathe in the fumes. The first coat of Plastidip should be a light dusting, which should leave most of the original surface colour still visible. Once complete, leave to dry for 15 minutes and then come in for the second coat. This again should be another light coat, leaving some of the original surface visible. Again, leave to dry for 15 minutes and come in for the third coat. This should be a heavier coating which will cover the surface thoroughly, and you shouldn't be able to see any of the original surface colour after this. Leave to dry for another 15 minutes and repeat this process twice more, ensuring a good coating of Plastidip is applied each time. Make sure to hit the surface from multiple angles so that all sides are covered well. After 5 coats have been completed, leave the components to dry for 4 hours or more so that the coating can set. This is how the coating turned out. The Plastidip feels smooth to touch, however it's easy to grip given that it is rubber. If you look closely, you can see that the PlayStation controller button icons are still visible through the Plastidip coating, which I know some of you are curious about. Now I'll reassemble the controller components by simply reversing the process used to tear down the controller. It goes without saying, but of course make sure to reconnect all of the wiring connectors that were disconnected. Once everything's been put back together, this is the final result. One thing which I'm curious to test is whether the touchpad still works correctly through the Plastidip coating. So I'm going to open up Astro's Playroom controller demo to test that now. As you can see, the touchpad still works perfectly fine, so that's good to know. Alright, well that's going to wrap it up for this video, so let me know what you thought about this mod in the comments below. As I mentioned earlier, I wouldn't recommend this mod for most people, as tearing down the DualSense controller is quite an intricate process. However, if you're up for the challenge, then by all means, go right ahead. I have some really cool videos coming soon which I think you guys are going to like, so stay tuned for that. As always, thanks for watching, stay safe, and I'll catch you at the next one.